Greetings, Wade.
Good morning.
Give a moment to see if anyone else is going to join.
hmm Otherwise, it's going to be a very short meeting.
That it is. I wonder if daylight savings is throwing anyone off today.
Possibly.
Welcome, Stephen. Just giving a
Hello
moment for
there.
people to join.
Okay.
All right, it's 5 after. We'll go ahead and get started. Uh,
Okay.
Welcome to the March 10th, 2026 Indy Contributors call. We are uh, make use of the Linux Foundation's decentralized trust code of conduct. And what's the other one?
Antitrust policy,
Yeah, it looks like my antitrust policy disappeared. It's weird.
but it's still in effect.
It is still in effect. Uh, so we are also managed by the Linux Foundation antitrust policy. If you have any questions, um, you can visit this link here for the code of conduct, and I will be finding the antitrust policy and adding it back in. Um, awesome. As far as Lynn has joined. I don't see anyone new or anyone that feel anyone new or anyone that needs to introduce themselves today. Um, so we'll move down to our agenda items. The annual report. We did receive feedback on the annual report. So if we open that up, they attempted to have a vote on it, but no one voted, I
Which
believe,
is typical.
which is typical.
I
Um,
did attend the meeting
yes.
um, on last Thursday, and they talked about the report. So I wound up um, talking a bit about it and answering their questions. The big issue is there's a section in those comments that basically say there's no maintenance. Yeah, right there. No maintenance, no releases, no vulnerabilities fixed. And so they weren't very happy.
No, and so they're indicating here if we don't shape up that we might move out of the graduated status after
Yeah.
2026. And that seems very reasonable to me.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, they didn't mention that line. Okay, good. Anyway, I think, what's done is done. The report has been presented. I don't expect there to be any more, but we'll see. I went to the last two because I was reporting on an on-creds and they didn't talk about it last week, but they did talk about it this week. So an on-creds also. Um, One of the people there really wants us to push an on-creds into graduated, which is a possibility. And then, but this was the bigger concern was the fact that no releases even for dependencies were done. And that's the biggest concern is that, the code is out there being used, but yet there's no dependency update, vulnerability updates being done.
Yes. Um, awesome. I mean, not awesome that that happened, but
Yeah.
it's good
Yeah.
that we got our report done and now we need to get to work on making things happen, I think.
Yeah.
Um,
Good
so
Lord, look who's here.
it's been a
What?
while.
A while is
Holy cow. Yeah, a
not.
while is an understatement.
You want to
Is he gonna
introduce
speak?
yourself, Nage?
Hi, Nathan.
Hello. Just popped on today to see what's been going on. Um,
Wow.
by way of introduction, my name is Nathan George. Have been worked on this project quite a long time ago, and haven't had a chance to join in quite a long time. So it's good to just get to be here and say hi.
Oh, we know who you are. You are the inventor of the Nathan, let alone all the other things that are here. But we still use that term. Did you know that? Do you know what I'm referring to?
Oh yes, that
Oh, yes, I could tell
blast from
because
the past.
you left things silent for quite a while before answering that. So you clearly knew what you were talking about. Good to hear from you. Good to talk to you. This is awesome.
All right. So as far as uh what's next then, we can move on to our next agenda item, which is the Indy Plenum and Indy Node Test deadlocking on my new machine. Um, I have done significant amount of research into this issue. Um, I tried adding print statements using debug tools, but um, I think the biggest issue here is that um, Rosetta is a best effort inside of um, running AMD 64 based containers. And so I think the right thing to do is to make it so that we have ARM 64 support for Indy Node.
I would agree. I did add a comment there, though. We looked into that a while back and we ran into issues with some of the dependencies. They wouldn't build for ARM, they required code changes to support ARM. And I don't know if those were ever done. Um, when you're running the tests, are you trying to run them all together or are you breaking them up into chunks?
Um, either
Okay,
the test hang it's a hard hang, so you can't like control C it. You can't give it
right,
an
right. Yeah,
interrupt. Um, and then all the debug tools under Rosetta are pretty much broken. So strace, GDB,
right.
um, none of those tools return meaningful data about where the hang is. So I
Yeah,
did try going in and injecting um, print type statements in the code to try and figure out where it was hanging. Um, and I think the best resolution there is adding ARM support.
yeah, yeah.
So
Just to let you know how it works on the Intel based systems, even you can't if you try and run all of the tests as one big huge bulk thing, it pretty much does the same thing. You have to break it up into chunks. You can't run them all at one time, and that's sort of partly the reason why you'll see the automated tests chunked into different groups.
interesting. I'm able to run them all as all together
Hmm.
on my AMD environments. Um,
I was never able to do that.
uh, regardless, though, since the debug tools aren't working and Rosetta is considered best effort for AMD 64, um, adding the ARM 64 support is, I think, the right thing to do, but I don't think it's today, um, due to the dependency updates. And so my recommendation is that we just leave this open here, this ticket, and then we come back to this after we've upgraded the Ubuntu version and we start resolving dependency issues. Um, but this is good to know. I'm not going to use my M4 based Mac to do the Indy development. I'll just use my AMD 64 environment. That means
A question.
yes.
Related to that, and related to the previous about the scorecard, what about the possibility of putting out, do we think it's important to put out a dependency update version of Indy Node and Plenum sooner than later, rather than waiting for the Ubuntu 2204 upgrade, which has, I don't think, a known completion time, or are we close enough on those? I guess this sort of hangs between the three issues we've got there.
Um, so we've got a couple of issues with Ubuntu 20. One is that the a bunch of the repositories, I believe, have gone away on the
Oh,
Ubuntu 20.
which
Um,
makes
and
sense.
and a bunch of the builds have also no longer succeed, at least in my environment.
Okay.
Um, and so I recommend that we push the
Okay.
2204 release
Mm-hmm.
as bare bones as we can. So no
Yep.
dependency
Yep.
updates or anything like that. Just get it out the door so we have a working build. Maybe we don't call it an official release, but we call it a uh,
Yeah.
development release, and then we go and update the dependencies. I think having
Yeah.
that working environment critical to maintain interest from other developers supporting the project. And I think
Yeah.
trying to do everything in one branch all at once, I think is too big of an effort.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I
and so,
just wondered if we wanted to brand the bot update. Um, but maybe that's not realistic given the 22 or the 2004 basis.
uh,
Yeah, I think the 22, but the existing release, if we wanted to rebuild it, I think we'd be in for a much larger headache because we would have
Okay.
to
Yep. Never
retarget
mind then.
all the dependencies and everything, and
Okay.
libraries and various things that have all moved.
I was excited to get into look at Node and Plenum a moment ago to see how many pull requests are there and thinking, oh, there's not very many Dependabot, but then I realized Dependabot's turned off, I'm sure.
yeah,
Hence
when
why
we go too long
there's
without an
nothing.
update, Dependabot turns
Exactly.
off.
Yep, exactly.
Um, so my work on the deadlock is done, so I'll be moving into the upgrade path, and I'll be reaching out to Wade for a couple of questions, probably regarding the repositories, so I can get the repositories up and going.
Hmm.
Um, and then I don't think Renata's here to do an update on Indy Besu. And Indy, let's see here, did WebVH any updates there, Stephen?
We just keep moving forward with it. The things like the Helm charts have now been published at diff for the server. And there was quite a big demo done, I think it was last week. So since our last meeting, and it was the Unix kernel or the Linux kernel group was getting an update on the first person project progress and the Linux kernel group's use of that um, for trusted contributors. And of course, the first person's project is currently based on WebVH. And so that's triggering more interest. So just keeps moving forward. We are at the point where we're looking at what will go into the next version. We're hoping to have an update to the did resolution spec for path handling that will be actually useful, and therefore, and that will force a change for did web VH. And we're looking at a few other changes we're going to make in did web VH. They're kind of clever that that implementers are coming up with. So all good. Also
Awesome.
looking at, interestingly, post-quantum, the impact of adding post-quantum support for securing a did web VH log, and quite interesting. I think, changes some of the optimizations we want to do, because suddenly the log will be completely dominated by keys and signatures, which um, can't be reduced in size meaningfully using something like CBOR or anything like that. And so some of the optimizations that we're seeing, both that we're doing and or we're considering, and things like Carrie does, really won't matter, because trying to compress things and get things small in log files ain't going to work when you got post-quantum keys and signatures. So that's kind of an interesting um, realization. And so that might change a bit of our direction on how we optimize things, or how we approach optimization.
Interesting. Um, and when you're saying some of the impacts, like when it comes to compression, is that the like where are we talking about compression? Like the log file
So
or
yeah, so the log file is going to have what it has in it. But one of the things we've got in did web VH is we've got this concept of a witness and witness proofs. And currently witness proofs are in a separate file. And one of the things that allows us to do is cull that file to include only the latest proof from a given witness, so that we don't have all of the ones from a given witness, but only their most recent, with the theory being that when the witness updates the most recent, it applies to all previous ones that it dealt with. It's not only approving the current one, but all the ones before it. So we don't need to keep all those proofs around. Well, we can do that because we've got a separate file. One of the things being pushed for, and quite meaningfully, is to put the witness proofs in the main log, so we only have one file. Well, it's much easier to deal with one file. But once we get into post-quantum, the ability to cull the proofs is actually super important. It would, or sorry, is much more important and much more impactful if all of those keys and signatures aren't don't exist. They just
mm,
get deleted. So we're not compressing by algorithm. We're deleting things, but deleting things in a way that retains the intention of the witness. So that's kind of an interesting observation. So logically, you say, well, we save a little bit of space now, so but we have to have this second file. It's kind of a hassle. Why don't we just put everything into one? But if we put everything into one and we can't remove anything from the log as we go, then suddenly the log is going to be a whole lot larger when we get to post-quantum. So interesting.
it is interesting. Thanks for the update there, Stephen. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Um, let's see here. No update on Indy Node Monitor. Um, I don't think we have an update on this either. The decentralized identity interop profile. Okay, I think that's all the topics I had for today. Does anyone else have any topics they want to bring up?
Oh, I know one thing that eh, it's probably not that crucial, but it is kind of in our history. The Aries info, I have to get the URL. Aries interop.info website. I'll put it into chat. Um, that I let the domain pass. So it doesn't resolve anymore. So the OWL tests are no longer available there. And so let me give you the new address that those are there. OWL test. So it's just the default. It's now available. Whoops. Shoot. It's now available at the normal GitHub Pages location. And those have not been updated in quite a while. They stopped working some time ago, and I'm not sure, and they just haven't been fixed. So that was the cause for letting the domain name lapse. I just didn't want to pay more for something that wasn't being used. Oh, Owl Agent Test Harness. Sorry, let me. Um, so the GitHub pages is still there, just not at that ariesinterop.info location. In case anyone is interested, but as I say, they haven't been updated in quite a while and they haven't been working in quite a while. So they don't look bad now, but except when you look at the date that it was last run, September 24th, 2025.
If anyone would like to join the hyper uh, the agent test harness meeting, that'll be this Thursday at 9 a.m. Mountain Time.
Hmm. Fortunately, I have a conflict at the 8 a.m. meetings and can no longer make that one.
It still has the old name on it. I wonder if it's been updated to say Owl. Okay. Anything else? All
Nathan,
right.
what have you been up to?
Well, I don't have much to say today. I'm mostly just trying to catch up and figure out what's been going on in the community project.
Well, good to have you here. I hope you've been well, and we have missed you. And I'll let John know you have been around. He'll be interested to hear that.
Thanks for coming, everyone. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
All right, take care.
Have a great day. Bye.